What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Dissect That Film, where we dissect your favorite films, film franchises, and TV. Today, on episode 66 of the podcast, we are talking about the final film in the Terminator franchise, 2019's Terminator Dark Fate. I am your host, Brett Parker. Joining me, we're missing somebody today.
We are missing somebody today.
We have one half of DNA Gaming. Got Dan over there. Dan.
That is me. I is here.
The sickness
60%.
has invaded the home over there, so it took one of our co-hosts down for the count. She will be back stronger than ever, and we can't wait to have her back for the next episode. So, Dan, we were talking about we're finally finishing this goddamn franchise.
Was it that bad for you? Was it rough?
No, I'm just, I'm kind of Terminatored out, After we're 6 films in. I'm like, all right, I love the theme of this goddamn series, but damn, I need a break from the da-da-da-da-da. It's going to live, I'm just going to hear it all the time.
Yeah, you are.
It just lives in my brain.
Forever.
So Terminator Dark Fate. This movie came out in October 23rd, 2019 in Europe, and November 1st, 2019 in the rest of the world. This was directed by Tim Miller. Tim Miller, well known for his blockbuster Deadpool. That was his directorial debut. But Tim Miller is he's big in special effects. That's where he kind of came out of. He co-founded Blur Studios. I don't know if you've ever heard of Blur Studios. They've done a lot of stuff with video games. Like I think they've done a lot of stuff with like a lot of remakes.
No, I'm not too familiar with that studio. It doesn't jump out at me.
So yeah, I mean Blur. Let me look up Blur Studios real quick. So yeah, they've done stuff for the Arkham series. They do a lot of trailers for video games. So any like those really theatrical looking trailers that you would see for video games, that aren't the game itself, was probably done by Blur. But yeah, I mean, Terminator Dark Fate was only his second film and really hasn't done much in the film side of things since this movie came out, because this movie didn't do so well at the box office.
Was he shunned?
I don't know. So he went on to do Love, Death, and Robots, which is a show on Netflix, which is very VFX heavy. He won an Emmy for it. I think he was the creator for that show. So I mean, he's got stuff going on. He's also the executive producer and kind of the spearhead behind the Sonic the Hedgehog movies.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
He's still doing a lot of stuff. But like huge success with Deadpool. Unfortunately, creative differences didn't lead him to doing Deadpool 2, so he was brought on by James Cameron to direct the newest Terminator, because the rights to the Terminator franchise went back to good old James Cameron. So everybody was like, James Cameron's got the rights, right? This should be great. And to be honest, this movie's not that bad. Like I thought it was a good time. I think this is a better beginning to end film than Terminator Genesis was, or Genesis, as the smart people would say.
I mean, just a better overall balance.
Yeah, I think from beginning to end, I think it just I didn't feel like super let down by the ending, as I did with Genesis. But I don't know. I don't know if you would agree with that. But guess who wrote this? Talked about him.
Goyer.
Yes. So now he only goes by David Goyer. According to the credits, he doesn't go by David S. Goyer. He needed to. He took his pencil. He erased the S, and now he just goes by David Goyer, because he's like, I want to make sure people don't confuse me with David S. Goyer, who wrote and directed Blade Trinity. Just gotta forget that. David Goyer has written a lot of fantastic films in the last like 25 years, so I'm not going to fault him completely on how that not so well received movie. But yeah,
Well,
but
he did do Dawn of Justice too, so
I think most of that's Zack Snyder though. I think Zack Snyder was
probably,
probably like the number one guy for that. Um,
probably.
I mean, if I mean, I think I've mentioned Army of the Dead maybe in passing, but
Yeah,
that's a movie that is Zack Snyder just smeared all over it, and you're like, okay.
yeah,
And
yeah.
listen, I like Zack Snyder. I like Zack Snyder, and I one of my favorite movies of all time is a Zack Snyder movie. So I'm not gonna say anything too bad about Zack Snyder, but he's got some movies that aren't so great.
Got some quirks.
Yeah. But a lot of people wrote this movie, and I think that is a big problem when it
Too many
comes
hands in
to
the pot.
yes, there's just too many people,
Yeah.
and it just turns it like I said before, I had fun watching this movie. I don't think it's a bad movie, but it's also a forgettable movie. Like I feel this is a very forgettable Terminator movie. Like The Terminator and Terminator 2 Judgment Day are so iconic, and you will always remember things that happen in that movie or in those movies. They're just ingrained in your memory, even if you've only seen them once. This is a movie where you're like, hey, what happened? You're like, the Terminator was chasing someone, things happened, and then it ended. Like that's
Yeah,
like it's so
kinda the
for
MO, huh?
they're kind of forgettable if you think about it. From Terminator 3 to Terminator Dark Fate, they're kind of just forgettable. They're forgettable movies. I think Salvation is the only one that I have fonder memories of. And even
You
after
hold it
doing
a
the
little
rewatch a
higher.
few years ago, yeah, and even after doing the rewatch a few years ago, it still felt good. But like I
Yes,
said,
it
I don't dislike this movie. It's a forgettable movie in the end. This movie
okay.
budgeted between 185 and 196 million dollars. It grossed $261 million, and people are like,
Oof,
"Oh, well, it's budgeted more."
oof.
Wow, wait. They spent 80 to $100 million on marketing, so this lost over or maybe a little under $100 million, making it one of the biggest box office flops of all time.
That'll do
So
it.
that's why we're probably not going to be getting a Terminator movie for quite a while, and or
Good,
anything to do
good.
with with this movie or anything prior to that, because I think this was kind of James Cameron came back. He had the rights. He helped write this movie. He was a big part of it. He brought Linda Hamilton back. You know, they brought the original Sarah Connor. You bring Arnold back. You think you have it down pat. You're like, I mean, Genesis made $460 million.
Why
This
nobody watched this
easily
movie?
could have made 500, $600 million, right? With those names attached.
Yeah, of course.
No, it's because I think people saw Genesis and they were just like, I think I'm done. I think I'm done with this franchise. That's the problem is when you're 5 movies in and your movie is panned by not just critics, but audiences, they don't care what you're giving them for another movie. They really
Mm,
don't.
no.
They
It's
just don't
true.
care. Because this is a better movie than Genesis. I think it is. But hey, it's just the way Hollywood works.
It's true, man.
So, like I said, this movie stars Linda Hamilton. She's back as Sarah Connor. We got Arnold back. We got Mackenzie Davis. She's the new protector. I don't know if you would have consider her the new Kyle Reese, or is she? Yeah, I kind of put her in the same category as Kyle Reese, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Except for the fact that
She is the Kyle Reese of this.
yeah, she's not like Kyle Reese wasn't this like this character, but it's the same
Yeah,
idea.
it's a little different. It's like a
Nat
blend of Arnie from the second and Kyle Reese from the first. It's kinda
Yeah,
like
yeah. I could go with that. Natalia Reyes, she's our new Sarah Connor, I guess. I get if you look at it, or
Anaconda.
John Connor. It's kind of like a split, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. Gabriel
Yeah,
Luna is our new Terminator. He's the Rev 9. You like him? Yeah.
I do like him, actually.
So he played a a good version of Ghost Rider
I
in
heard
Agents
about
of
this.
Shield. And I remember seeing the trailer for this movie, and when I saw him, I think I was literally when this came out, I'm trying to think of, like, what season Shield was at. I think it was pretty close to when he made his appearance on Agents of
Mhm.
Shield as Ghost Rider, and I was like, "Oh, this should be good," because I like, his performance in, Agents of Shield, so this should be pretty good. I didn't see
Mhm.
this in theaters, though. I waited until it was on, I think, like, Amazon Prime had dropped it because
Good call.
I just didn't
Good call.
have faith in it. Like, I literally just bought the Blu-ray not that long ago. Like, maybe a few weeks ago just so I could watch it. And then
Just
HBO Max went, "Hey, we're gonna put them all on HBO Max." And I went, "You son of a bitch. Where's my
you're gonna
$18 that I used to buy this stupid movie?"
That's right. They should just change the title to Terminator No Faith
Yeah.
or Faith No More, and then that band will just play the whole fucking time.
Yep. God, that song.
What, Epic or whatever? God, I fucking hate that
Yes.
song. God. Somebody's like, "I love
Who did that?
Epic."
Oh,
Like,
I think
no.
Atreyu did a cover of that.
They did, and I can't stand.
Yeah. It was on my
I'm
favorite album, though,
sorry.
from Atreyu. But, yeah, I'm not a big fan of
Mm.
that song either.
What album?
Lead Sales, Paper Acres?
Really?
I think so.
Interesting.
I mean, it's been a long time. That album came out in, like, 2007, so it's been a
It
long time.
did. It was a long time ago.
Music was done by Tom Hulkenborg, better
Fake
known as
name.
Junkie XL.
Mhm.
He, uh,
No.
he did some mixes with Hans Zimmer on Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, and Man of Steel. But he loves working. He works with Zack Snyder a couple times. He did Zack Snyder's Justice League, Divergent, Mad Max Fury Road,
Mhm.
which is a great movie.
Divergent, that's a
Deadpool.
show that didn't take off. Holy Christ.
Yeah, nothing drew me into that series at all.
No surprise.
Deadpool, which I like the music of that, but most of it's just other just people's songs that he probably just added some mix to. I don't know. Alita Battle Angel, Sonic the Hedgehog, Scoob,
Did he do the
that
first Sonic or the second one?
the first one. The
Well, he
very
did kudos to him. Kudos to him for putting the actual video game remix in it. Fuck the dude who did the music on the second one and didn't do that.
yeah, what like why? It's so good. We want to hear that iconic music.
Exactly. Yeah, please, at least once, not a one.
Even the Super Mario Brothers movie from 1993 at least you at least hear it a little bit.
Yep. Yep. You hear it as a ringtone in the second movie. That was one of my big gripes.
I hate when they do that. He did the music for Scoob, the very forgettable Scooby-Doo movie that came out last year. I think both times that I've tried to watch that movie, I've fallen asleep. Just I can't get into it. I don't know what's going on. It's Scooby-Doo. I should be so happy about that. And both times I've passed out.
There you go, guys. It's never gonna be on the podcast. So for all you
I
Scoob
can't make it
lovers, this
through
is
it. Sorry,
what
everybody.
it'll be like a 15-minute podcast, and like, this is as far as we got. You need to write in and tell us how the movie was.
Right. Godzilla versus Kong. I
Okay.
can't even sure. And Army of
It's
the
alright.
Dead, which is I just mentioned that movie.
Got that Snyder stank. That's the one you're
Yeah,
talking about.
he likes that he likes hanging out with Snyder. So, Dan, what are your thoughts
Yes.
on Terminator Dark Fate?
Before I do that, I need to get something off my chest.
All right.
I've been thinking about this. Angel's not gonna hear this. She'll have to listen to it later. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I need to air this out, right? So everybody knows I'm at this weird state of possibly getting sick, so I need to get this off so everybody's like, "Oh, there's the Dan we know." But anyway, so I may have mentioned on this podcast before, but I've had ideas for certain properties. Don't take these are all patent pending, like ideas I was thinking about. And this
Yep.
hit me, and I was like, I need to talk about this on the podcast because it's got nothing to do with the podcast. Just let you go, nothing to do with Terminator. So I mentioned before that if I ever made an adult movie, I wanted to make an adult movie when cloning is perfected, cloning technology. She knows this. This is not the joke. And call it Doppelgangbanger, right? But I had a better idea. I had a better idea. Hold on. That one's still mine. Don't you fucking take it. Nobody. So if cloning exists while I'm alive and somebody makes that
Oh,
movie, I'm fucking suing you. But anyway,
you heard it first.
uh, and I'll cite this podcast 80 years from now when I'm somehow still alive. Anyway, um, I want to make a website, an adult website, because this is what I do.
Okay.
I want it to be themed. I want to have a theme around I want to have it themed around bukkake, right? Hello, hold on, I'm not done. But it needs to have a sub theme of larger people, like overweight people, and I want to name it biscuits and gravy. Just
I
thinking,
got I got
just think.
nothing. I got nothing.
Do you not know what bukkake is? Do we need to have this explanation?
I I I
It's where you
feel
jizz on people. It's where, like, people just get
ah,
covered with, like yeah, so biscuits
okay.
and gravy. So anyway, that was it. That's all I had to get off my head, my chest. I just needed to say it because it just hit me
Oh
the other
my
day,
lord.
a
All
week ago.
right.
I made a note in my phone. Anyway, talk about the movie.
All right. Well, no,
So
it's you have to talk about the movie. I
no, that's
asked,
what I'm talking about. I'm
was that
remembering
what you
myself
thought
as I
about this movie? Is just you just literally were
biscuits and
like, I
gravy?
just yeah, just
No,
you
my
came up
thought
with
of
a
this movie.
porn.
Oh, go ahead. No. That this was just I just wanted to talk about it on the podcast because it's what I do. And it's Terminator. That's what we really, it doesn't have to be Terminator. It's just what we talk about. It's what I
Right,
talk
right,
about.
right.
But anyway, I couldn't think because I noticed we don't do this on this podcast anymore. And I'm totally fine with it because I don't have to keep up with it. But like I was thinking of a list of all the Terminator movies, and I couldn't. I like these two are like interchangeable for me.
What do you mean we
So
don't
like
do it? What doing like a ranking?
yeah, we haven't done it in, like since Batman.
I figured since this is the last Terminator, we just do it at the end.
Okay, then good. We'll talk about it later.
And Angela's
But
off screen, so you could just ask her what she thinks, and then she could just
yeah,
tell you, and then you tell me
that's fine.
or
We'll
tell
just
the
use smoke
audience.
signals.
Yeah.
It's this movie is very interchangeable with the previous one. I
Mhm.
do like certain things about the previous one I enjoyed. Same with this movie.
Mm.
But I thought it was an okay action movie. It's the same as I thought of the other one. Uh, it's I the rebooting of continuity is kind of annoying after a while. Actually, I wasn't a very big fan of the ending of this movie. Some one part of the ending. Um, but as far as the story, I like it being centered around different people.
Mhm.
I like Danny's character. I liked Grace was fine. I like her as a new addition. Like I like it not just being Sarah Connor, Kyle Reese, John Connor. Like that's not or and just those three people. Like I
Right.
like it that there's more people that exist that have some relevance that are not these three people.
Yeah.
And again, it's them trying something somewhat different, but unfortunately, it also falls into the stigma that all the other movies have, except for I would say Salvation of it. Well, even Salvation does it a little bit, but just retreading the first and second movie.
Yeah.
And that's I hate that that's what this series is degenerated into. It's like we have no original ideas. There's nothing we could possibly ever do with this franchise ever. So let's just keep copying the first two movies.
Yeah.
When
And I think that's why people are just like they're just over it. They're just like,
yeah,
we've seen this
and this is coming from
so many
somebody
times.
that loves Godzilla movies, and let's be honest, there's not a lot of diversity in Godzilla films, even though I do like them. But I'm not don't dislike this movie. Like I said, I thought it was a very average movie. Um, some of the effects are pretty good. I still they cannot do a fucking CGT 800 to save their fucking lives. I think their movement shit, and I
You
think
didn't
they're
like
too
the
bright. Like
you didn't like the opening,
the too bright and shiny fucking T800s.
the
Like,
ones
oh look
coming
at
out of the
me.
water.
I like the Normandy thing, but they don't move right. They look
Yeah,
too
I saw that
lightweight.
scene. I was like, that looks like I actually liked that. I like it's nothing is worse than what we saw in the last one with those like just so overly bright and shiny T800s just staring at the screen. You're just like,
They
oh,
were like that
oh,
in this one too, because they, like,
yeah,
came out and then, like, it's, like, chrome and the sun's, like, reflecting on 'em. I was like, "Why did
yeah,
you do that? Like, why are they yes, make them stand out more? Like, way to go, Skynet or fucking Legion, whatever."
right,
But I like the new Terminator, or unit, the Rev 9. I was trying to debate in my head, like, how could they do something different? They did a very cool concept for something different for how the Rev 9 unit works. I like the
yeah,
guy, Gabriel Luna. I thought he did a great job playing the character.
yeah,
I like his broad range of interactions, and I even his, like, facial expressions, and when he's running, like, after them and stuff, he looks like he's fucking running after somebody he's gonna fucking kill, not like the
yeah.
lady from the 3rd one who's just having a jaunt. Like, I don't know, but, Linda Conrad was fun. Not Linda Conrad, Linda
L-
Hamilton, Sarah Connor. I don't know where Conrad came from, don't mind me, I'm looking at the
Linda
IMDb, I'm fucking
Conrad.
shoulda so, Linda Hamilton, I liked her. It's cool that she's back. Uh, Arnold He's just doing the same shit he's done every other fucking movie for the most part. Um, he's fine.
I
Arnold's fine.
liked the direction they went with him in this one. I feel this version of the Terminator that he is vastly different than what we've seen in other movies. Like the fact that, spoiler alert, he becomes more human. He's
Yeah,
I got some on my screen, or if that's on your side, whatever. But yeah,
that's
he's like
some gravy.
he becomes he becomes
Carry
more
on.
human, and he starts like the way that he speaks. He's not super robotic all the time.
He seems a little more natural, but he still has that way about him. You can tell.
Yeah,
His
yeah.
name's Carl.
Same as Carl. Oh, I liked him in this movie
He loves
more
Drake.
than I liked him in the prior one.
I mean, I like him too because it's Arnold, but it just seems like let's just take the same character and put him in like a slightly more ridiculous situation. And I felt like the dude's Deadpool, the director, his like work on Deadpool came through because there are some like more lighthearted moments, but they're
Mhm.
more spaced out like they were in not Terminator 3.
Yeah.
Uh like well, not even Salvation, maybe Salvation and uh the other one, Genesis. But yeah, I just felt like there is some comedy and it lurks like when he's talk breaking down drapes.
Yeah.
The drapery
Yeah,
conversation was
that was a
fantastic.
little
I
yeah. I was
loved
like,
it, but
"Oh, okay. It makes
he likes
sense to his
drapes. But
character."
my complaint was just how the ending played out, but we'll talk to it later. But I thought this was a serviceable film. I thought it was a decent movie. I can understand why Terminator people don't like it. It's just again taking the same shit and trying to do something different. Um, maybe people think it's culturally relevant
Woke? Just say woke.
woke
It's
because
very
it has.
relevant for we're talking about this movie, and I don't remember the reception of this if people threw that around. But I'm just thinking, speaking of that, with Prey that just came out a few days ago, people are throwing that word around for that too, and it's just like
Dude, it's
I don't
not.
see it
I'm
that way.
sorry.
Like I understand if you do, because I could see it. Like if I'm watching a movie, like okay, I could get how people would interpret it that way, but I didn't
I
when
don't
I
see
watched the
it.
movie.
I just thought it
I
was a
had other
badass
things, but
movie.
we'll talk about Prey another time. But it just kind of
No!
reminded me of the same thing. No, why not?
Fuck this movie. Let's just talk about Prey. Just
Oh,
kidding. No,
okay.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, because this would have been when it came out, Trump era. So, the wall thing. So that was like
Yeah.
slightly like Mexican immigration and stuff,
Yep.
or just immigrants in general. But anyway, that's beside the point. But that was brought up. But it's not. I didn't think anything of it. It was just in the movie,
Yeah.
and it was a thing. So
They're like,
there
strong
you go.
ladies? No way. This is
Well, I mean,
stupid. Woke. And you're like, oh, okay, get
well,
out of here there,
Linda
Karen.
Hamilton makes sense, and then Grace makes sense because she's augmented. Which
I
is
don't know, man.
surprising. I'm shocked it took them that long to bring this into these movies, having cybernetic modifications.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I liked that. And the fact that
I
she
didn't have
knew
a
she
problem.
was that way. Like it wasn't like you see movies like in for instance, Salvation. I like Salvation a lot, but the fact that like uh 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 Sam Worthington's character, he's a Terminator ultimately, but he doesn't know.
Yeah, that was the
Like
point, is not to know. I thought it was handled well.
yeah, but there are other movies that just do it all the time. Like I feel like there's so many movies out there. There's like something like they're enhanced or there's something like I never knew. Whoa! But the fact that like she shows up and they see that she's got that like filament under her skin,
Mhm.
and she's like, "Yeah, I'm augmented." And it's like, cool. We don't have to like dive too deep into it. Other than the fact that she volunteered to do this, that's how she is. Sometimes Sarah says shit to her, but yeah, I liked
You
it.
can't blame her, so
Oh yeah.
this specific
Oh no, no, no.
Sarah
I'm
because
talking
of what
about like how
happens.
she's like, she like makes jokes when certain things happen because she is stronger and faster and all that, but she's
Yep,
still human,
that's
which
my piece on the movie.
which I liked. I enjoyed it. This is like I said before, these from Terminator 3 to Terminator to this Terminator, they're just kind of forgettable. I think the only reason that I remember a lot of things that happened in Terminator 3 was because I watched a lot as a kid because it came out when I was probably like 11 or 12. So, like, that movie was, you know, it was a Terminator movie, so I watched it a lot, and now as an adult, when I watch it, I don't think it's that good, so I probably won't watch it anymore. I've only seen this was the second time I watched it, same as Genesis, I only saw that a couple times, and would I watch him again? If it were between the 2, I probably would choose this one just for the fact that I hated the ending of Genesis. Like I said last week, it was such a it started off really strong. I liked the ideas they were going in, but they just literally jumped off a cliff with no parachute, and they unfortunately didn't make it. Um, this movie is very paint by numbers if you think about it, because like you said, they just take things that the Terminator and Terminator 2 did, and they just kind of put a little bit of they add a little bit of spice here, there, and everywhere. And
Mhm.
they're like, what? Hey, remember the Terminator? You know, the T-800. He's got the exoskeleton. He's really strong, blah, blah, blah. And then remember in T2, they had a liquid Terminator? What if we did those things and made them one? And then we split them apart, and there's now 2 of them. And you're like, what?
Yeah, like, it's
The Rev 9 is so OP. It's
yeah, oh god, the Rev 9.
unbelievable.
The Rev 9 is, like, the closest since, like, I don't know, he just felt, like, more imposing than, like, since, like, the first 2 Terminator movies, like, the
Yeah.
T-1000 and the T-800 from the
I
first 2.
I
Like, I
r
just feel like an indestructible, relentless
Yeah.
force after them. I fucking love, like, again, Gabriel Luna, give it up, and that's why I was like, because this is like, alright, so they blend those 2, they're like, "Fuck Terminator 3, let's actually make this good."
Yeah.
And me and Angela were debating how the technology would work, since the liquid part can separate from the endoskeleton, and, like, so like you said, there's 2 of them,
Yeah.
but, like, the endoskeleton, that's obviously the core control unit. So if you took that out, that would take care of the liquid one, right?
I don't know. I wish we saw that,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
we
yeah.
didn't.
I just
Um,
think it's cool, I think it's neat.
yeah,
And
because at
it
the
could
Oh,
oh, go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say this one can actually form complex machines,
Yep.
because remember, it forms that gun.
Yeah.
It takes the bag and then turns it into the
Yep.
gun. So, far more capable.
Yeah, the Rev 9, and then we see a Rev 7 in a future war scene. It's the one
Oh,
with the
yeah, yeah.
tentacles.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was cool. Like,
Those are very cool. They're
the
like
visuals,
monsters.
some of the most of the visuals in this movie look good. Some of the visuals don't look good though. A lot of fast movement, while the
Yeah,
Rev 9 is in human form.
yeah.
Doesn't look very good. There's some scenes in the factory where where he like jumps from the
Yeah,
floor and does a
yeah.
thing up to the. I was like, ooh,
Oofta.
ooh. I watch if you want to watch something really cool on YouTube, search Corridor Crew or Corridor Digital. They're a visual effects company, but they do a lot of like they watch other visual effects in movies, and they kind of like, is it good? Is it bad? You know, they make
Oh,
notes
okay.
because they're really
I think I've
smart,
heard of
and
these.
they do.
Yeah.
And they talked about the scene in the factory where the Rev 9 jumps. Diego Luna's character jumps from, the floor of the factory up to the balcony, and it's just like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's just not smooth. It just looks well, it's no. They say like, it's like really obvious when everything's really smooth on CG characters. Like
Yeah, there's no weight to it.
there's no like when you look at a shirt, you see how there's like all the ripples on a shirt. There's nothing. It's just like plain.
Yeah.
And that's kind of
That's not
how like just I don't want to say bad. It's just like they didn't it just wasn't as detailed as it should have been.
mhm. My problem is just when they're doing movement like that, it just feels like there's no weight to it. Like,
Oh no.
it just doesn't it just obviously, it's a CG, so it's fake. It just there's nothing to, like, make you feel realistic. Like, my problem with the T-800s in some of the movies when they're CG, they just look like shit.
Yeah.
Like, just floating pieces of stuff in the
I'm
environment.
really surprised, especially since Cameron was back involved with this movie, that at least that scene in the beginning when you see the scene where the T-800s are storming the beach
Yeah.
there, that would have been so cool to see some practical
Mhm.
T-800s. It would have been
Oh,
perfect. Like how like in 20 when this was filmed in like 2018, this came out in 2019. So how I feel like it would have been, I'm gonna say it in quotes because I'm not, I don't I say easy, but it's definitely a lot harder. to make that more practical. That would have been really cool. And that's the only really time you see a T-800 is that scene in the beginning. And then the only other one you see is Carl, but you don't see him as a full T-800 until the end. And then you don't really see him as that. So I don't know. Felt like they could have gone in a different direction with that.
Yeah, I just wonder how much of his involvement, like how much he was actually involved in this.
So
like,
I watched a lot of the behind the scenes, and you never see him. You never see him in the behind the scenes when they're making the movie. So I think he was just there because he's busy making 17 Avatar movies. So he's just like, listen, I'm on board. I'm going to help write this movie. I guess he was very involved with the writing. So he was in the writer's room helping write the script and get everything on board. And I think it was more just a communications thing between him and Tim Miller and probably David Goyer, because David Goyer is, a reliable person to have those communications with. So yeah, I mean, I like I said before, I didn't hate this movie. I enjoyed it. I thought it was the only thing, man. I don't understand. Can you clarify how to fix this? Maybe I watched this. I watched the regular Blu-ray because I don't have a 4K player yet. But why the fuck, when people talk, it's like this? They're like whispering. But then the fucking action happens and my house shakes like an earthquake.
I don't know. What the
fuck is that?
Movies do that. I have no clue.
It's only when I watch on Blu-rays. It's if I watch it on, let's say if I watched it on HBO Max, I can guarantee the balance would have been there. There's got to be something. It's probably just my dumb ass not knowing. I don't know anything with that shit.
I don't know either.
I'm literally turning it up, and then I can hear them perfectly, and then a fucking action scene happens, and I'm like, oh no!
Yeah, that's me. I do the same thing. Down, down, down. Fuck!
Son of a bitch! But yeah, you ready to talk about the plot?
Make it happen.
So this movie opens to an interview that we've already seen before, because it's an interview from Terminator 2, where Sarah is talking to Dr. Silverman, or was it Silberman? I can't remember.
I think it was Silberman.
Silberman, yeah, and the other guy, some cops about Judgment Day and how the machines are coming and all that. It's literally pulled straight from Terminator 2.
Mm-hmm.
We then get a voiceover from Sarah as we see the water washing up on the beach. We see a skull, and I completely forgot about this scene. I'm like, oh, what? Oh, I remember the scene after this. I don't remember the scene of the T-800s marching the beach. But she talks about how she prevented Judgment Day. So it shows the T-800s marching the beach, but then it kind of cuts away. She's like, but that never happens. That future never happens. So it's now a nice, beautiful beach. Sarah, well, it's Sarah, but it's not Linda Hamilton, I don't think. But it's actually, what did you think of this de-aging for
I
Sarah?
thought they did a pretty decent job for her and John.
So I have no idea whether or not they have to I'm guaranteeing they have to ask permission to use likeness. Especially because Edward Furlong looks not much like he did in Terminator 2.
Oh yeah,
it's been a long time since. When this movie came out 1991 was Terminator 2. This was 2019. So what's that? 18 years? 28 years.
No, 28 years.
Yeah, 28 years. I know.
Yeah,
I was born in 1991. How old was I in 2019? 28. Jesus Christ. Math is hard.
I don't need to worry about that nonsense.
So yeah, we get a scene where Sarah is talking about how, they beat Skynet, they stopped Judgment Day, but somehow another Terminator was sent. My question is, was this Terminator sent right before it ended? How long was he there? Was this Skynet's final attempt to... I'm just confused.
We're going down. We're taking this fucker with us, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it. So a T-800 shows up. It's Arnold again, because every T-800 is just modeled after Arnold. I want to know like the origin of like, who was this guy? Who was the guy they modeled the skin for the
Meat
T-800s
slab.
after? Yeah, who is he? Because he's always Arnold. And he goes up and just blasts John Connor, just fucking blasts him in the chest. And then Sarah, of course, reacts. She tries to stop him, and she gets tossed across this cabana. And John just gets blasted in the face. That's what I'm guessing happens. And he just casually, just casually walks out. His mission's complete. He walks away. Sarah grieves her son. John is dead. So, and this is 1998, by the way. A year after Skynet was destroyed, or Cyberdyne was destroyed, because Terminator 2, I think, takes place in Terminator 2 took place in 97, right?
No, I think it was 95.
That's right. So this was 3 years after he stopped. That's weird, though. So it's 3. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I bitched about them fudging her death in Terminator 3.
That's right. I'm just that's the thing, is like I'm still like wondering, like 3 years. Like that's what I'm so the future shit just confuses the hell out of me. This is 3 years after they stop Cyberdyne. They destroy Cyberdyne, which then destroys Skynet. So how the fuck does Skynet send a Terminator back? Was the Terminator hanging out for 3 years? Was he already here before Cyberdyne was taken down? Because if Cyberdyne was taken down, Skynet's gone, meaning they can't send back more Terminators. It makes no sense. So where did this fucking guy come from? We don't ever find out.
Nope.
He does come back, though.
Yes, he does.
Oh, Lord. So we get then our arrival of our Protector and our Terminator. And the first one, goddamn, this is possibly the worst location for anyone to arrive from the future. Oh, God, knock my book over.
Sorry, book.
See you later. I don't need you. And this Grace, by the way, the Protector, she just gets morphed underneath a bridge. Like it starts on the top, but she's underneath it. So when her little orb goes away, she just fucking falls. Just boom.
So I think she hits the part of the bridge, doesn't she, when she falls or some shit? Or is it when she hits the ground?
Oh, she bounces off a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
And you got these two, this couple, they're, messing around over on their car, and they notice this and like, oh shit, let's go see what's going on. And she's butt ass naked, because that's, we all know how it works in the Terminator franchise. You gotta be naked.
Yep.
You don't get to see much. I mean, you see her ass. She's working out. Mackenzie Davis, who plays Grace, she busted her ass to look the way she did in this movie. She was ripped.
Mm-hmm.
She was very, very strong, and she's very tall, and she just, oh man, she looked good. But yeah, she beats the shit out of some cops.
Oh yeah,
naked. I'm like, this makes it even more badass. She's doing this naked, and I love it how like those people like helped her out, and then she's like, she does the thing where she puts her foot up against the guy's foot, and she's like, I'm gonna take those. Just takes the dude's clothes. Like, what the fuck, man? I helped you.
You thought it was implied. You're thinking like, oh, it's gonna she's gonna take the ladies' clothes. No, she takes the guys' clothes.
Yeah. So the cops show up, and they're like, oh, naked white girl. This is suspicious. Weird. We got a couple. We got a Mexican couple here. Well, this is Mexico. This is Mexico City.
Mm-hmm.
We got a couple here that's got a naked white girl. This is not suspicious at all. And they're like, oh, we're just trying to help. The fuck. And the cops just being the stereotypical, just shitty people, like from the movie cops.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll just arrest everybody.
She beats their ass.
Yeah, murks them all.
We then meet the new Sarah Connor of this story, Danny. Is it Danny Reyes, I think?
Ramos.
She is, I swear when I watched this the first time, when it first came out digitally, that she was like way younger, but she's like, I think she's supposed to be like the same age Sarah was when Terminator 1 happens.
Yeah, it seems like she's probably in her early 20s, maybe a little older than Sarah Connor, but she's like in her early 20s, I think.
but she lives with her brother and her dad. And
I can't remember her brother's name.
I can't remember most of these characters' names, to be honest.
Diego? It's Diego, yeah, you said
Diego. Yeah, and I think he's actually played by an actor named Diego. Yes, Diego Boneta played Diego.
Oh, nice. That's convenient.
So,
oh,
yeah, and he's kind of lazy. She's got to kind of like motivate him. And her dad, he's just hanging out with the dog. And they work at a factory. I'm guessing a car factory because they're putting like hoods and stuff on cars. So
yeah, I've already figured it out. In this reality, it's not Cyberdyne. It's actually Tesla that creates Skynet.
I was like, oh, did you see something I didn't?
No, I was just looking. I was like, so I was sitting there. Okay, I was like, okay. In this factory scene, it's like they go to work and they're gonna go build these vehicles, and they get there and there's a machine in their spot.
Yes.
Like, oh no, machines are gonna replace us. Like, dude, this has been a thing since especially the automotive trade since like the 80s, 60s, 70s, 70s, I think it's 70s or 80s, where robotics have been starting to get integrated, or maybe 80s, 90s, about replacing people's jobs. This is not like the relevance today. Like, no, guys, this is about 30 years late for that one.
So yeah,
yes.
Oh, sorry. You have more?
No, that was it.
Oh, all right. So yeah, they go to work. They notice the machine, like you said. And then right after they leave, this is where we get the appearance of the arrival of the Terminator. And I do like the whole like freezing effect, like everything around it gets like freezes.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know.
I noticed the teleportation effect was more like 2, right? Like when they teleport through time or go through time with the orb. Is that 2 or is that 3? They did that.
I think 3 did it.
Okay. I
Maybe
still thought
2.
it
I
looked
don't
good.
remember. It looked good.
He's even in an odd spot where he gets teleported
No,
in.
he's like in the air. I mean, he does the cool, superhero landing. I'm just waiting for Ryan Reynolds to come out and be like, superhero landing. But yeah, this is Diego Luna as the Rev 9. He goes up and he likes the shirt this woman's holding because she's like, what the fuck was that? And he can just touch things and it kind of forms to his body. It's like the T-1000.
Mhm.
But the difference between I think the difference between him and a lot of other Terminators in the past is the fact that like he is very human. Like he can have those
Yes.
normal conversations. Like I think
Yes.
like Robert Patrick's T-1000, like he was able to do that too in a way. But like
Yeah,
this
he
one
was.
is like this guy could eat like he easily blends into every situation he's in.
Oh, he's so good at it, dude.
Like he jokes. Like
Yeah.
he like was joking around with people, and even when he like pretends to be somebody else, he joked around with these two guys and then just murks them both, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah. Definitely a very good infiltration unit, that's for sure.
Yeah. So he lands right at the doorstep of the person he's supposed to terminate. Like he lands at the building that Danny lives at, and that's who he's supposed to be going after. And you're like, never in a Terminator movie has the Terminator arrived right outside the door. Like imagine in T1, just Arnold just shows up right at Sarah Connor's apartment. Made the fastest movie ever. Just Sarah Connor, and then it's just like credits roll. None of the sequels happened because that's just how it ends. He goes up and unfortunately he meets her dad. He asks where she is and he tells her, and he's gonna die because he shows up to her work and he's going around. He's asking, if Danny's around and stuff like that. This is where it gets weird because he's like very relatable and like he can joke and kind of blend into things. But this was like the most out of place, like, interaction that the Rev 9 has. Like where he like runs into Diego and he's just like, "Where's Danny?" And he's like, she's talking to the boss. Like, what's up? And he's like, "How long is she gonna be?" And you're like, this just seems really out of play. Like you're throwing off. Like Diego's like, "Ooh, this is unlike what you would be like." And why are you even here? You
Yeah,
forgot your
exactly.
lunch.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Danny shows back up. So Danny has a conversation with her boss about the whole machine thing and the fact that like her brother might be fired. And I guess she's a really good worker because the guy's like, yeah, he's not you. Like, you're a good worker. He's really not. You know, if we'd have to get rid of anybody, it's probably going to be him.
That's a fair point.
It literally doesn't matter, to be honest. So yeah, so Danny comes out. She notices her dad, but it's not her dad because it morphs into the Rev 9. He's got a gun and he tries to shoot.
No, he doesn't morph. He just turns the gun into the bag.
Oh, does he still stay the dad? Oh, that's right. Because Grace shows up because Grace locates where Danny is and she like gets into the building and then just beats the shit. Like she hits the dad in quotes. And he falls and she's like, and Danny's seeing all this and she just thinks like this woman is killing her father. She's like, stop it.
Yep.
And she's got like a post and she's just like bashing him in the head. Just fucking him up.
Hey, whatever works, man.
And yeah, so we get the fight in the factory between Grace and the Rev 9. We get this is where you get the shoddy VFX. This is it's usually when the Rev 9 is in his human form. Because anytime you see like his exoskeleton, it actually looks good. I like the look of the exoskeleton. I was kind of like a little put off on the head dip there, where it looks like you got to put like you can insert a brain, which will be something
for the jelly.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, we get the thing where he's like jumping around. It just looks weird. Yeah. He's getting like thrown around by her, and it's a cool fight. Just the visual effects are kind of shoddy.
Yeah. Actually, one thing I didn't point out when I was giving my summary of the film is I actually really enjoyed the fight scenes in this movie and the action scenes in general. Yeah, I thought it was some of the best ones since the first two.
Yeah, because it wasn't the same fight 4 times like in Genesis. We got the same fight 4 times. Like, no. We then get a car chase. So Grace gets Danny and Diego. They leave. And I don't understand how it takes so long for Grace to tell Danny that her dad's dead. I would have been like, yeah, that's not your dad. He's dead because your dad would like, he's not able to do it like a quick like pass through, but instead it's like a conversation even after someone else dies. But they leave. They hop into an old Ford F-150, right?
I want to tell you guys, little factoid. 87 to 91 Ford pickups. Driven a lot of them in my day. Several of them with the manual transmissions. They don't reverse that fucking fast. That is a deep reverse, and you will be going like 15 miles an hour tops. When you have that fucker pegged, you will not go that fast.
I mean, yes, but also this dump truck.
Yeah, well,
the things this dump truck is doing, and it's still able to drive is like, that's questionable. The fact that the plow falls off eventually, I'm like, oh, I guess that's a cool little touch.
Sure.
That doesn't. Oh. But yeah, we get the car chase where they're escaping from the Rev 9, but the Rev 9 catches up. He's got a dump truck. And he just comes plowing through a wall because that's how a dump truck works.
Of course.
And yeah, so we get the car chase where there's times where they spin around and then they throw it in reverse and they're driving up the off ramp or the on ramp. And the amount of concrete this plow goes through is unreal. Like, this plow is unbelievably strong. Where are those plows when they're plowing the snow in the wintertime?
No shit.
What the fuck? They would only have to go up and down once for hours.
Not here. The city would just run. The county would just run out of salt and like, you're shut out for the rest of the year.
At least you're a southern state that just actually does something about snow, unlike other southern states that are just like, snow, shut down the state.
Yeah, no, right. Well, we get enough. We get like, if you get like a snowfall and it's gone in a day anyway. So
yeah. My mom lived in North Carolina. That's what she pretty much told me happens.
It did when Atlanta got it. When fucking Atlanta shut down, it's like it got like a dusting. I was like,
oh Oh no,
What the
they're under
fuck's
the
going on?
world.
Work day is over. It's fucking over. This is
Judgment Day is
day after,
here.
day after tomorrow.
Oh man. We get the cool scene where they're driving away and they got the rebar and she's got the rebar in the back and she just
Oh
throws it
yeah.
like a spear and it like he misses two and then one goes through his chest. So he grabs onto it and his liquid form like forms outside of the truck onto the hood. And then his exoskeleton's still there driving. I'm like, that is the coolest fucking shot of this entire movie.
Dude,
Is him combing through that.
That was my thing when we were watching this. I was like, well, I figured out how they would one up themselves.
Yeah.
Like make one unit too. I was like, that's pretty fucking clever. I never would have thought of that. So
I mean, that kind of reminds. I mean, one of my favorite scenes from Genesis was when the T-1000 does the same thing. He punches the hole in the cop car, and then morphs out to the hood. Like it's pretty much the same thing. But this one is cool because you got the exoskeleton just like,
I'm still here, guys.
I'm driving. And so when he's in liquid form and he gets like shot or beat or whatever, it looks like the T-1000. But when he's got the exoskeleton and he gets beat, you can see the exoskeleton underneath, which I thought was I really like the fact that they keep that continuity. That the way that he gets when he's being hit and stuff, the reaction is a little bit different between the two. But yeah, so they crash the car. Diego gets like a freaking piece of bar through his chest. He's gonna die. Pretty much Grace is like, Danny, you gotta get out of here. He's gonna die. The Rev 9 hops into a car and drives straight into Diego. Diego just blows up.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Oh, okay.
Fucking brother on a skewer, motherfucker.
And they're just like dumbfounded, like, oh shit. And then the Rev 9 comes back out and he got the metal form and the liquid form together.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's when it starts getting shot, right?
Yeah.
Like a car stops and you get the epic music and then boom, boom. And she's saying, and it pans up, and who is it? It's Sarah Connor. Ba bam bam ba bam. Ah! And she just starts shooting at it with a really cool. Is that a shotgun? Like, what is that?
It is. It's got a big old rotary mag.
Yeah,
that's what it has. So instead of you hear the music, instead of her getting pumped by Kyle Reese, she's pumping the shotgun.
Yeah. It's like,
no babies.
I haven't felt a Kyle in me in a while.
Yeah.
Like Linda. Jesus. I mean, Sarah.
Good Lord, lady. Calm the fuck down.
Oh, man. Imagine a Linda Hamilton, Michael Biehn sex scene in 2022. Recreate that scene.
With the music and all the swelling orchestra.
They're like, my hips!
Oh yeah, it's
sorry. So yeah, she starts shooting at it. I like how it's like trying to run towards it, and it's just like ah.
Yeah, it's very determined on its mission.
Oh yeah,
Terminator's going to be.
She blasts the liquid form falls off the bridge, and then she blasts the exoskeleton like back into a car with a grenade, and then she's got grenades and she drops it onto the liquid version, and she goes, "I'll be back," very casually, and then walks down and then Grace is like, "Well, we're gonna steal her car now." I just love her reaction when she notices her car's gonna show. She's like, "Son of a bitch."
Yeah.
There's a deleted scene, which I don't even know why they filmed it. There's a deleted scene of her acquiring that station wagon. I'm glad it wasn't included. Didn't need to be a thing. I was literally here just going, "I'm taking your car," and he's just like, "Okay." It was the guy who gets out and he starts recording on his phone when everything's happening. You can see him in the background in the prior scene. But then you get the cool scene of the Rev 9 liquid form and you see the exoskeleton walk into the liquid form. I like how they like reconnect with each other, and I was like, "Ooh, that's fucking terrifying."
Yeah, he's got to get back to his charging base.
Yeah. So Grace and Danny are driving away, and this is the like this little piece that I could not stand throughout this entire movie. And it's the fact that she needs this concoction to be injected into her every like hour, or she fucking just like and dies. Like it's like what? I didn't like it.
When I did until you learn about it later, and I'm like, that kind of doesn't make sense. But
So was
I
this program new and like why wasn't she sent if she was sent to the past to be a protector and they knew that wouldn't they send her back with this shit?
well, see, she says some contradicting stuff. Yeah, I don't see why she didn't send it with her. But they said when you're an augment and you fight a rev unit, that you literally have to take it out in like minutes or you're fucked because you
Yeah,
burn out. Like your
yeah,
body just burns out. Like or like you have so much time because it's just overclocks your metabolism and you just start eating yourself alive.
yeah.
Excuse me. But then she says later in the movie that like how you beat it is like you don't, you just run. It's like then I would maybe
What?
that's why she didn't take any with. She's like, all right,
Yeah,
well,
I
I'll
don't well,
sacrifice
how would
myself to someone's there. But if you can't beat it, I don't
yeah, and that's the thing, it's like, then why are you here? Like, w so you're just gonna run forever?
make a difference, I guess. I don't fucking
I
know.
don't understand. So yeah, she's crashing hard, and Sarah catches up with them because they go into a pharmacy and she robs the place and she passes out. And Sarah catches up with them and throws them in the back of her car, her newly acquired car. And as Grace is like in this state, you get the like flash forwards to the future
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
her escorting a commander.
Yeah.
Is is the command is this supposed to be like who we think it is? Like who is this
I think
commander?
so.
Okay.
I don't
Um
know.
and yeah, they're fighting Rev 7s, which are some of the most terrifying Terminators I've ever seen in my life.
Mm.
Is literally the Rev 9, but they have these tentacle things that come out of their back and they fucking just shoot out and shit. And you're like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah, they look more like straight combat units than
Yeah.
infiltration units like the T-800 or the Rev 9 and shit,
Yeah.
so
And I guess they're a lot easier to kill too, because Grace shoots one in the head and it's just dead because it's like laying on top of her and she kind of just pushes it off and you're like, oh, that seemed pretty easy. But I
I
guess that's why the
guess.
Rev
They
9
seem pretty
exists
fuck
because it's more advanced and
I guess. They seem pretty fucking indestructible at first because 'cause they're like
yeah.
dudes are just like, "I'm shooting them," and, because they're non-main characters, they can't do anything.
Yeah. So yeah, she gets injured pretty bad and so that's when she is like, I volunteered to the augment program and then she wakes up.
Yeah.
So Sarah helps her out too. She puts like ice on her and like
And
tries to get her back to get her back because she wants to ask her a lot of questions. Grace wakes
takes
up
one
and confronts her. She pins her up to the she pins her up to the wall.
takes one of her kidneys just for payment.
Yeah.
"Yeah, when you're in the ice, I took a kidney."
Yeah. Like, what are you doing? She tells and this is when Sarah tells her the story. The whole history of everything that's happened throughout her life between her being attacked in T1 and then the events of T2 and the fact that John was killed. She talks about Skynet, and they're like, Skynet, what the fuck is that? She's like, it's Legion, like it's some guy who created a program and it became sentient and took everything. And I just love Sarah's reaction, like these fuckers will never learn.
Yeah, and
It's
you're
the
like, "It's
same
cool."
thing though. I'm like, did somebody look at the like Cyberdyne? It's just exploding and everything like falls apart, and there's like, they had a good idea. Let's do it again.
Well, see, that's what I wonder is there are some similarities with T2 in this movie, but obviously the core of the story is it's more like Terminator 1.
Yeah.
Because they're not trying to stop Legion. They're just trying to keep Danny alive.
Yeah. Well, there
Which
were
will
supposed to be
inevitably
sequels of this, so
oh, well,
are never
yeah, that's
happening.
true.
But like even when you look at like the Terminators, like when you look at the Rev 9 or the Rev 7s, like the exoskeleton, it looks very similar to the T800s, like the structural
Yeah, it's
look
like a
of
more
them.
modernized
Yeah,
T800
it's got
essentially.
the more
The with the
alloy look to it.
water heater in the top. You can
Yeah, they
make
got the
bowls of
bowl.
soup
They
in this
put cereal in there. Just
yeah. Food for
like
thought.
weird.
Where all his Bitcoin goes.
But yeah, so they, Danny tells us about Legion and everything that they're doing, and it's very similar to the events that happen with Skynet. Danny talks about how like it started a lot. Like to be honest, the way that it all starts here is a lot. It just seems scarier. Like Judgment Day
Yeah.
is scary because it was literally just Skynet became sentient and they just launched all the nukes because they launched all the nukes in the US, which then Russia sends their nukes over and then Judgment Day happens. But this one was like all electricity went, like electricity just disappeared. So you see like the girl and then you see the plane crashing because it like loses all the
Yeah.
things go on. And then the nukes happened and you're like, oh. But then you get a very similar scene to how Kyle was rescued when he was a kid. It's just Grace as a kid as she's running through, and then she gets confronted by some unlikely kids that just want whatever she's got. But that's where it ends.
Yeah, because she doesn't get attacked by a Terminator, just gets attacked by other people.
Yeah. They're driving. They determine they're driving somewhere, and Sarah talks about how she gets text messages from an encrypted sender who pretty much gives her coordinates. So when so I guess Terminators just show up all the time, and Sarah is sent coordinates. She then goes to the coordinates, takes care of whatever's sent, and then I guess the end of the message is for John.
Yeah,
but she doesn't know who it's from, and I'm trying to think of the connection between her and what Grace talk about. Like
it's the number tattoo on the side.
That's right, the location. So it's Laredo, Texas. So they got to go there. But they're in Mexico, and Sarah is wanted by a lot of people, by everyone. Pretty much. She's like, I'm wanted. How many states? I don't know, like all 50.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
So Danny's like, well, I got an uncle who can help us get over. And they're like, okay, off to go see this guy. They have to ride a train before they get there, and that's when we get some more exposition.
Yeah, it gets them closer to the border.
Yep. And we get some more exposition here where Grace talks about, well, at first Sarah's like, you're just me. You're the new version of me. You are the mother of the future. Your spawn will become the leader of the resistance, blah, blah, blah. And Grace knows she's wrong, but doesn't say anything about it. She's like, I'll tell you later. I'll tell you later in a more extreme condition here.
Oh, yeah. A more inappropriate situation.
Like,
Thank you.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah, so they talk on top of the train, and I think this is when Grace tells her about the future and like how she, all the shit that she's gone through and all that stuff. Yeah, Danny tells the story of her future. She's just like, listen, I get what you guys are saying, but like, I am going to fight. I am not going to just sit here and be the damsel in distress, somebody who needs to have their hand held. I am going to fight. If someone's after me, I'm going to stand up for myself, and, whatever happens, happens. And Grace is like, I'm here to fucking protect you. And she's like, you can't even, like, half the time you can't even walk. I like that. That's actually said, like, I'm here to protect you. He's like, you can't even walk. That was earlier. We then meet Danny's uncle. Can't remember his name. But Danny is just straight up tells him what's going on. She's like, there's a robot trying to kill me. And he's like, and then to prove what's happening, Grace whips out her switchblade and cuts a fly perfectly in half. And I was like, why did we need that? It's just,
Sure.
and that fly just okay.
Believable.
Yeah. The Rev 9 discovers where they're going. He goes into like the server room and connects to it and he calculates it. So this scene was done 3 times, I believe. So I watched all the deleted scenes. There is 2 other versions of this scene. So one of them is the Rev 9 is kind of in street clothes and he's sitting outside at a coffee shop and he's not doing anything. He doesn't touch his tea or coffee or whatever he's got. And he's doing the same thing. It's all the same scene of him like locating them at the train station or where they pick up the train. And he just walks away from the table as the woman's like, "Pay your bill, damn it!" And then another one. And then another one is when he like, I don't know if this is where the uncle lived. It's from outside of a house and there's a bunch of dead bodies and you go inside and there's a dead body and blood all over the kitchen. He's just sitting in a chair and he's doing all the commands, like telling them where they are, like what he does after he kills the drone pilots, which is like, I found them. They are, in this location, coordinates, blah, blah, blah. But he's just sitting in a chair doing it. And I was just like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm glad they didn't use those scenes.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
But yeah, he this is when he disguises himself as the woman. And then he's like, oh, Border Patrol comes and visits, but they don't bring any donuts. And like, shut the fuck up. And then just stabs them both. Like,
yeah, oh god, that's good. I was like, nice, dude.
Okay.
GG.
And yeah, he takes control of the drone. He tells Border Patrol where the location is of everybody. And also in a deleted scene, the uncle dies. I don't know. I don't think he dies in the movie itself.
They don't show it
out, but I guess they get attacked when they're on the boat in the deleted scene. They get attacked from the shore, and he gets shot in the back, and he just dies. He falls out of the boat and just floats down the river.
Uncle.
And literally she grabs Grace grabs the other guy that was with him and it's just like, we mourn later, and just throws him. I was like, oh, that was dark.
Okay.
But in the movie itself, he's alive when they get arrested. But yeah, you never see him again. Whatever. He's kind of forgettable. So the Rev 9 then crashes the drone when they're being taken in. He crashes the drone right into the middle of everything. They still get detained because clearly not everybody died during this thing. Grace just gets tossed every chance she gets. She's always near the explosions.
Yeah.
They're detained. They are like looking at Grace because she's pretty roughed up. And they notice that she's like, what the fuck is going on here? And as they're like discovering what's under her skin, she wakes up and breaks her cuffs and then beats the shit out of everybody.
Yep.
I like how she brings the guy in and threatens him, and he like helps her, and she just punches him. Same with the woman who's sitting at the desk. Like, where I think she just asked where Danny is. The Rev 9 shows up. He's outside. This is I like this whole scene where he's going through the metal detector. He's like, it doesn't, I can empty my pockets. I'm still going to light this thing up.
I'm a living weapon.
Yeah. Yeah. I like how he just jokes about that. And then walks through and it beeps and he's like, metal hips. And they're just like, go on ahead.
Yeah, because he's like, no, yeah, he's his middle hip. He's like, got injured in my tour of Afghanistan.
Yeah, 2 tours in Afghanistan. Yep.
Yeah, which it's a good thing to bring up. You're in Texas, very, Republican Army friendly state, military friendly state. So it's believable. The Rev 9 knows his audience, like that he's speaking with. He's very intelligent. Like you said, he's the most human villain Terminator they've had in any of these movies.
So Sarah gets taken in because she is very famous. As she stated before, she's wanted in all 50 states. So they take her in for special treatment. And Grace looks for Danny. The Rev 9 shows up. Grace starts opening all the doors to the cages. I'm gonna call them cages because that's what they are. They're not cells.
Cells. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Cells, cages. This ain't a jail. This is I don't know what you would classify this as. But yeah, she lets them out, and the Rev 9 it does some weird shit where it like climbs up on the top like a spider.
Yeah.
Like climbs on the top of the thing, and Danny runs by this one border patrol woman, or the woman that's like one of the guards, and she says something to her. I flipped this notebook like 4 times already. She was just like, "You need to run," and she's like, "What, that thing?" And then she immediately dies. Like, oh, all right.
I think it was the agent that she was trying to talk to wouldn't listen to her.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's who it was.
Yeah, because Grace locates Danny, and they get the hell out of there. While all this is happening, Sarah beats up everybody that she's with. And yep. And I like the scene where the Rev 9 is trying to, like, he's going towards Danny, and all of the border patrol officers are like swarming him, and he can use his liquid form to form spikes all over his body, and just starts as he's like pushing forward. I was like,
so fucking good. He like out like of course I have a fondness for like Arnold in the first movie and the second movie, and then but as the villain, and then Robert Patrick in the second one. Yeah. But I'd say Gabriel Luna's up there. Like, he's one of my favorite Terminators.
Yeah,
like,
he was really good.
He's like one of my favorite parts of this whole movie.
So they get a chopper.
Get to the chopper.
And Danny wants to make sure that Sarah is saved. So she's like, "I'm not leaving out Sarah." And she's like, "You're gonna die. Because you see that thing? That's the Rev 9. He's gonna kill us all." And she's like, "No, I need Sarah." And then Sarah comes out, and then they save her, and the Rev 9 doesn't make it. He can't make the jump. Oh. But yeah, I just like that. Grace is like, "You can't do that shit, man. Like, I'm here to protect you, and you're putting yourself in harm's way." He's like, "I wanted to make sure Sarah was okay," and Sarah was just like, "Yeah, that was kind of stupid."
Yeah. She's like, "Yeah, you should have left me."
The Rev 9, I like that the Rev 9 goes down, and he's talking to the 2 Texas Rangers. I think that's what these 2 guys are.
I think so too.
He's like, "Hey, you guys know where I could get a chopper?" Like, such a random question.
He picks up a southern accent.
Yep.
When he starts talking, I like it. It's good.
This is when they finally make it to their coordinates, and it's a cabin in the middle of the very wooded Texas, somewhere in Texas. I don't know where all this woods are. Is Texas got a lot of woods?
Apparently here it
is. I guess so. Anybody who listens, who lives in Texas, is there a lot of wooded area in Texas? I don't know. I'm guaranteed there probably is.
Well, I know there's the some areas of Texas have those really thick trees and stuff, because that's where the hogs hide, the wild hogs and shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So they go up to the front door. Sarah, they knock on the door, and who should walk out but Arnold Schwarzenegger? And Sarah sees him, and
what
she's
if his
like,
doorbell does that?
Dun, dun, dun.
When you hit the doorbell.
Yeah.
So stupid.
Sorry. When he comes out, Sarah is like, "What the fuck?" and goes to shoot him, but she stopped, and she goes a little crazy, and then has to go cool off in the woods. As Danny's just like, I get it. I'd be pretty upset too if I just came face to face with the thing that killed my son.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. This T-800's name is Carl. And he is as I said, he is the Terminator from the beginning of this movie who kills John Connor. and he's not very subtle about it either. He's they because they were like, "Man, you're very human, and you have a family." I know, just like Sarah's just like, "So what? You got like a Terminator wife and like a robot son, like or kid?" It's like, "No, I met is Alicia. You know her. He gives the whole story about how Alicia was abused and he took her in with her kid and stuff like that.
He was abused. We met to intend to
Yeah."
swipe, swipe, bitch. So
But yeah,
stupid.
he pretty much states he's like, after I killed John, my mission was done and I can't go back. I mean, what is it for me to do? So he pretty much just kind of adapts to being a human, I guess.
Yeah, he mentions that the relationship is
Not physical.
non-sexual, not
It's like,
physical, which is cool.
yeah, so like or how does she not know you weigh 400 pounds? She's not wrong. But listen, not to always bring sexual jokes into this, but I have to say there couldn't be any physical shit going on. I mean, we saw Arnold packing a giant schlong in Terminator 1. So you know that these T-800s were coming, they weren't coming with nothing. They were packing.
Hell yeah, they
You
were
just be
coming.
he doesn't have to do anything. You could just be the bottom all the time. And he's strong. He ain't gonna hurt her. He knows control. All
I
right,
just
that's
assumed
enough of
she'd
that.
fucking I just assumed he'd fucking break her pelvis, dude. Give her the old snoo snoo. Fuck, dude. No. You think
Jesus.
his jizz is just like hot coolant?
I
Ah,
mentioned that. I
my
mentioned that in a
hydraulic
couple
coolant.
episodes ago. I thought I was like, isn't it? Do you think his jizz is like oil? Oh boy, what are we
This'll
gonna?
be gr this'll be great for greasing the hinges. Ah, this motor has a knock. Give me about 30 seconds. Ot, ot, ot.
She's like, what are you doing? What are you doing in there? She's like, it's like, do you want me to change the oil in your car? Oh Jesus.
Jesus.
So, yeah, Sarah's. I think they're drinking fucking Coronas. Ugh, gross. It's one beer I can't drink.
You can tell this is before the virus hit. That shit wouldn't be in movies at that time if it had.
They're still in Fast and Furious movies.
That's surprising because of how
Yeah,
fucking sensitive people
it's
are
all
about
Dom
dumb shit
Toretto
like
drinks.
that. Not my
So
family.
he decides he's going to help protect Danny. He's like, you know what? They knew that this time was coming, so here it is. In a deleted scene, so in the movie, according to Carl, um, Alicia and the son don't know who he truly is.
Okay.
There is a deleted scene where Alicia talks to Sarah and she states how she knows everything about Carl. I feel it just didn't feel right for them to have the fact that
Mhm.
she knows, because the whole thing was like he was keeping it a secret.
Mhm. Makes sense. I got a question
Yeah.
on a not somewhat unrelated, but you mentioned Dom Toretto liking Coronas.
Yeah.
Why isn't he the spokesperson for Olive Garden? Because when you're there, you're family.
Olive Garden. I know you've been going through some rough times. So many Olive Gardens have just gone away. The
Just
one
get
Olive
Vin
Garden I
Diesel.
used to go to is not even there anymore. But like
Aw.
Olive Garden, I know you're going through some tough times, but I bet you if you got Vin Diesel to come in holding a
That's
Corona as
Dom
Dom
Toretto.
Toretto from the Fast and Furious movies and did your commercials, I feel like more people would probably go. Oh,
So fucking
yes.
stupid. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Back to Terminator.
So Sarah is just not about this. She wants nothing to do with this guy. You know, I mean, I get everything she's feeling is like this thing literally I watched it kill my kid. Like I'd probably feel the same way. Or I would
Oh,
have
yeah.
tried to kill him already. I mean, she does shoot him a couple
Mhm.
times. I like he's just like, well, this is gonna be hard to to explain to Alicia. He's like,
Oh,
she
yeah.
because and then she shows up and he's like, I gotta go help her with groceries. And he just throws on a flannel shirt over the bullet.
Nobody does anything about the casings on the ground, or
No,
the
no, no,
house
no.
is gonna stink like gunpowder.
What?
Well, he got shot. Of course it's
No,
gonna
no, no,
smell.
no. I was like, and it would be smoky in there, wouldn't it? Wouldn't you get some? Would you get some?
Oh, I guess all he'd have to say, because he's a big gun guy, he could just say, "Ah, I was just cleaning some of my guns
Yeah, it's like
earlier."
I had a misfired. Sorry. So
It happens with age. It's fair.
Sarah, so they got a big plan. They leave. Sarah's gonna meet up with someone who's gonna give them an EMP because that is what is going to help destroy or help slow down the Rev 9 because the EMP will like disrupt
Yeah, they said if it was
the
close enough to him, it
local.
would kill him if it would've
Yeah,
went
yeah,
off.
make him weak. Uh, as the exchange is happening, the Rev 9 shows up in a helicopter, of course, because he does ask for one earlier, and
Why
he
not?
shoots the Major. And then we get a scene where they're driving in Carl's van. He does drapes. And he's talking earlier. He was talking to Danny about the perfect drapes.
Mhm.
Whereas
Keep that
like
in
a
mind, it's important.
mom wanted to get these boring ass drapes, and I said, nah, nah, nah. You do this for little girls with their drapes.
I love how serious he is. I said, "Don't do it," and he's,
Yeah.
like, all serious and
He's
shit,
like, you
like,
get them
God.
bunnies or flowers or butterflies.
Yeah, I was like, "Thank you." That's what I like about this scene, because he plays it so fucking
Yeah.
serious. It's like, he's just
He's
in it.
very serious about the drapes. Uh, so they get on this massive plane, and of course, Grace can fly it. And Carl's van gets thrown at the Rev 9 and gets knocked off the plane. And they fly, and this is when you get the more exposition where Grace tells Danny that no, you don't have a kid that is that becomes the leader of the resistance. You're the leader of the resistance. You saved me. And I was like, oh well, that's a cool little.
Nice.
I like how it's not playing the same game. It's literally like it's not your kid, it's you. Like,
Mhm.
and I feel like that's when people in the fucking theaters are just going, woke, it's so woke, and you're like, shut the fuck up.
Stop looking for shit in movies, just
Oh
fucking sit down and
god.
enjoy it, dude.
Women can't do anything clearly, according
No.
to those people in the crowd just yelling woke. I wasn't one of those people. I didn't see this in theaters. Um, Grace tells. Oh yeah, I just said that. So she tells her she's the leader of the future, and then the Rev 9 attacks because he takes control of the refueling plane and just crashes it into the plane that they're flying. He just takes out the two the fighter jets, and then just fucking blah 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 blah, and he morphs his way outside of the plane so that he can attach himself onto the plane they're on. I'm like, damn, this is wild.
Slow down, bro. Good lord.
This is where the CG gets a little shoddy again. This fight scene
Mhm.
inside the plane, where everybody's flying around 45 times. But yeah, I like the anytime Arnold and the Rev 9 are fighting, I always like that. Because it's the old and busted versus the new hotness. I can't
Yeah,
remember
but
what the
the
fuck movie is
fights are
that
cool.
from.
I don't know. But I don't know the movie, but like I said, the fight scenes between the machines, or even, Mackenzie when she's kinda augmented, they're fun. Like, I think they're enjoyable, frantic, there's a lot going on. I think they're very enjoyable.
Yeah.
This whole set pieces, though, the whole planes, that just I know I'm bringing this up for a 3rd time, it just screams Fast and Furious.
Oh, absolutely. This very similar scene in the 2017 Mummy with Tom Cruise too. I don't know if you've seen
Yep.
that.
I have it, but it also makes me think of, Uncharted.
Oh yeah, yeah. Something we have talked about on the show.
Mhm.
So you get the whole fight. They Grace throws Danny into the Humvee because it's got a parachute. Also, Sarah gets in it too, and Danny just kind of holds on. So they escape, and the plane goes down with Carl and the Rev 9, which then crashes into the river. They do a pretty cool fight scene in the water. But the Rev 9 gets the upper hand, rips off Carl's arm, and then kind of just pins him to the floor of the river. And then says bye.
Deuces.
Grace activates the parachute on the Humvee, but it's going too fast, and then it crashes into the side of the dam that's right above the part of the river that the Rev 9 and Carl landed. It's crazy how close they were. And it's like just hanging there, and it's like up against the dam, and the water's pouring on top of them. And this is where my notes end, so I gotta fucking remember this on the top of my head. So the Rev 9 gets out of the river, locates where Danny is, so he goes towards them. Sarah, oh no, they cut the Humvee ends up falling into the river, and they Sarah, they ball up the parachute, and Sarah says when he comes through, you throw it at him, and it kind of will get him all wrapped up in it. And he gets wrapped up. Yeah, he gets wrapped up in the parachute, and they both escape from the Humvee. And it's funny because when he gets wrapped up in the parachute, he like floats away really fast. He's just like, whew, that current is carrying him. But like Sarah and Danny make it out of the same part of the river, and they don't go very far. They're just like, oh, hey guys.
Yeah, the water seems relatively calm compared to what we just experienced.
Crazy what just happened.
It must be really down low.
So they get out, and Grace is there. And Grace is not having a good time. She's like, I'm half dead. And then Carl makes an epic entrance as he comes out of the water. He's missing his arm, by the way.
Yeah, he has his arm.
But he can see that they're below, and he does a cool little skid down the side of the dam, and he's like, what's up? Hey, I got your juice. Give me that cheek.
Yeah.
Even though
shoots her up.
Grace shoots her up. Grace shoots herself up.
I know.
So they're like, we can't get in the door. And Arnold's just like, I got it. And he just breaks the door down, goes inside. And this is when we get the final confrontation.
I called this, by the way. We were like, I knew the movie was getting close to being over. And by the way, I did not pay attention to the time at all when watching this movie. So I was not aware of how long the film was taking, but I felt it went by a pretty good.
Yeah, it was a little over 2 hours.
Yeah, but it went good. But anyway, this scene, like, I was like, okay, we're getting to the end. They gotta be getting to the end. And I was like, wait, this is a dam. I know how they're gonna kill him. And at one point, I'm like, when are they gonna introduce the fucking magnets? Because there's always fucking magnets in these movies. This one not being in this movie, just a spoiler.
No,
but no. I was like, this is a generator. I was like, this is a dam. They're gonna use the fucking turbine engines. And sure as shit, that's what you were about to say.
So yeah, they go in here, and there's a bunch of turbines, and this is when I like this final confrontation because the Rev 9's not just a robot, like he's actually he's like, just give her to me, like let's just, I don't like, it doesn't have to go any farther than this. If you just give her to me, we can end this now. And he's like, we're not giving her to you, so.
Just interesting that he tried to reason like that. When
he
knew he had it, and he's like, just listen,
yeah.
Which I thought was a very interesting choice. It almost like made his character more human because he knew he could have killed him realistically.
Oh yeah,
and he's just like,
so
I don't need this stress.
Yeah. So they fight. You get the separation. You get the separation again, where the liquid and the solid form separate. You have them fighting, like two of them are fighting one and one's fighting the other, and like Sarah blasts the exoskeleton up onto like a catwalk above, and they're fighting the liquid form, and they they end up forming back together because he gets the upper hand. He throws him around a little bit, and Carl gets. I'm trying to remember the order of events. So I think Grace and Carl shove his head into the turbine, right? And then he gets sucked in. And then Grace saves Carl. He pulls Carl out. Or she pulls Carl out of the turbine.
Yeah, but he gets kind of fucked up.
Oh yeah, he gets pretty fucked up. And he gets he pretty much somewhat gets deactivated. And Grace is in fucking rough shape too. She gets stabbed.
The turbine explodes.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, which then she got stabbed and then she got fucked up from the explosion, which then causes her to be dying. She's like, the only way you're gonna kill him, you got to take my power source out.
There's my issue.
The power source.
Why would you need that outside of because you have machine and human fiber? To some extent, your own muscles would operate on that, but the mechanical part has a power source. Why do you need that? Why would you crash? Why would it peak your metabolism? That part bothered me a lot. Because they're like, oh, here's this MacGuffin that's gonna fuck her up, but we'll just oh no, she's got a power source. Okay, why not?
Right. So, yeah, so the turbine explodes, and the Grace she sacrifices herself. Danny takes out the power source, and they notice that the Rev 9 comes out, and I like the final form where it's the metal exoskeleton, but he's still got some of the liquid, but the liquid doesn't form anymore, and it's just
and the skeleton's clearly fucked up.
Oh yeah,
he's missing fingers and shit, and he's bad. He can't move all that well. He's just fucked up.
And it's going towards Danny to kill her, and that's when Sarah finally is like, all right, Carl, you gotta wake the fuck up and help. And it's right at the last second. It's always how it's got to be. It's right before the Rev 9 gets to Danny, Carl wakes up, grabs onto the Rev 9, and just drags him over to this pit that puts out a lot of, or it's just got spikes. I don't know what the hell the purpose of this pit is. But he grabs him, he throws they both fall into the pit. And I just love the fact that the Rev 9 is trying to get up and Carl's just holding him down.
We talk about that she already stabbed the power cord.
Yeah, she put the power source into his eye, and that's when Carl grabs. Because the Rev 9 does grab her and pins her and is killing her, and that's when Sarah's like, Carl, wake the fuck up. And she stabs it in the eye. Carl grabs it, throws it into the pit. And the Rev 9's trying to get up and stuff before everything happens, and Carl's holding it down, and then the reactor goes off, and it fuses them to the floor.
I hate this fucking ending. It's so stupid.
Really?
Yeah, here's my problem, dude. This is my biggest problem. I know it's for dramatic effect. That's all this is. It's all fucking Schwarzenegger deactivating for the 8th trillionth time in these fucking movies.
I like the old school vision that he has, like that old red with the classic text on it and stuff.
Yeah, I like that when they showed that was cool. But my problem is it's all right, let's make this moment dramatic. Of course, she took the power core out of what's her name, and all she's got. Oh, the idea was it'll make enough EMP or whatever to fry his neural network. She stabs him in the eye. And it takes 20 minutes, not really, but it takes a long fucking time when it should have just went into his eye. The dude start freaking out, and Schwarzenegger all I had to do is throw him down in the pit. Boom, done. We're good. We're solid. He can go back home to his family, or he'd be you can kill me, Connor, if you want to, and then she wouldn't and let him go home to his family. Whatever. That's how it should have played out. And if you want to kill Schwarzenegger, kill him off earlier in the fucking movie. Because either way is fine with me. But don't make this bullshit situation where it's got to be
sacrifice.
Yeah, he's taking forever, 20 billion years to die, but I'm going to make this sacrifice like I always fucking do. And it's just, that's why I hated the ending. It was so fucking predictable and by the book. And its only reason it's that long is to draw out this quote unquote ultimate sacrifice. That's why I don't like it.
I agree with you
You've seen it
for the
too
most
much in
part.
this
Yeah.
franchise when you do it again. Like I said, if you want to if you want it to be like, all right, I hate this to be the movie that I'm quoting for this, but if you want to be like an ultimate sacrifice thing, have Arnold like, whatever, like fall down the pit with grab the Revenant after he gets in his eye. He starts stumbling back. He like grabs them and like they fall in the pit or whatever. And then you could do a thing from like 3. He's like, "You've been terminated," and just smashes the thing into his fucking eye, and then just have it blow up and kill them both. Don't draw this whole it's like they're melting. Oh God, what? No, or just have him get fucking killed earlier in the movie. I don't
Melting.
care. I don't care that Arnold died.
Yeah.
I really don't. Like, he's done billions of times before in these movies. It's just the way it was done was just senselessly drug out. It's like, dude, this is done before. You're not doing anything new or creative. Outside of Danny, like offering, not Danny, but Grace offering up her, take my power supply. I must die like Kyle Reese. I can't exist in this timeline. I don't know why I sounded kind of like Bane there for a minute.
Oh, so yeah, so it's over. Danny and Sarah. It's sometime later. They see Grace as a kid with her parents at the park, and then Danny they get into a cool Jeep and they talk about, it's not over, it's just beginning type deal. And you're like, oh, sequels? And they're like, nah, this didn't make enough money. And yeah, they drive away. And it was also the fact that like earlier in the film, Danny told Grace that she doesn't know how to drive. And so now she's driving. And you're like, oh,
Actually,
cool.
a manual, a transmission on top
Mhm.
of that.
There was no credit. There was no after credit scenes, no mid credit scenes for this one.
Yeah, we looked for him this time. I was like,
Yeah.
"Uh-oh, we better check." No.
So but that's it. That is Terminator Dark Fate. And that is the end. As of right now, that is the end of the Terminator franchise. There is a TV show called Terminator. I think it's just called the Sarah Connor Chronicles. And I'd like to talk about that someday. Maybe I'll just do that like on my own. Maybe I'll do like TikTok reviews or little YouTube short reviews on the Sarah Connor Chronicles. Cause I've kind of been, since watching all 6 of these movies, I've been intrigued to see what the show is and if it's any good. I know there's only like 2 seasons of it. But it's got a good cast. I think it's got Lena Headey, who's in Game of Thrones, and she was in the Dread movie. So I've been intrigued to see that movie. But that's it. That is 6 weeks of Terminator is finally over. It was a wild ride. But next week for episode 67, we are doing something a little bit different, and a movie I'm actually really excited to talk about because I've actually never seen this movie. And when Dan came to me and asked me to do if I wanted to do this movie, I was 100% on board as soon as I read the message, and I instantly got Shudder because I found that they had this movie on there, and a lot of other movies that I'd like to talk about on the show. We're going to be talking about the 1985 horror flick Reanimator, starring Jeffrey Combs as the infamous Dr. Herbert West. I'm very excited to watch this movie. Very,
Hey,
very excited. Never seen it. I did watch the kill count though, so I do know the premise of this movie. I did watch the kill count on Dead Meat of this movie, but Jeffrey Combs, I'm very intrigued. I've heard he's fantastic in this movie.
I've never seen it either.
Oh, well, here we go. This is going
I
to be
always wanted
exciting.
to.
Uh,
I have I
yeah.
have a request in the future
Okay.
because we did this with Jaws.
Uh-huh.
We should at some point cover the pseudo sequel to Terminator that was released only in Italy.
What is that?
It's called Shocking Dark. It's actually it's more of a rip-off sequel. It was made in 1989, so it was before Terminator 2. But it was published in other countries as Terminator 2, even though it's more of an Alien rip-off.
Shocking.
Italy, they had a few of these like pseudo sequel things back from Italy back in the day from Italy, like
So
the old zombie movie called Zombie was marketed as a direct sequel to Dawn of the Dead, even though it wasn't, but it was billed as even the movie was made as such.
so when you type in Shocking Dark into IMDb, it pops up Terminator 2 from 1989,
Yep, that's the one.
directed by
Shocking.
Bruno Mattei.
Yep, that's the one.
Oh my! They legit called it Terminator 2. Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, next week we're talking about Reanimator. I'm very excited to do this episode. I'm very excited to venture into some movies. I'd like to do some movies that either we all haven't seen or maybe just most of us haven't seen on the show. It makes I don't know. I just like the whole fact that we're going in, fresh and doing something. And to be honest, after doing the last two franchises, I'm kind of in the mood to not do a big franchise for a little bit. Maybe take a month or so off of doing major franchises, and then probably like we'll say October we ain't doing franchise because we'd be doing that's spooky
Halloween.
time. We got to do our Halloween, our 2022 Halloween movies, which I'm excited about. But Reanimator next week, and I have an idea for an episode after that, but I'm not going to mention it here. I got to talk to my co-hosts and see if they're down for it, and then we'll announce it next week for when we talk about Reanimator. But I'm very excited. Before we go, we do have some people left some comments. Like I said,
Good.
I tweet out what everybody thought of this movie of Terminator Dark Fate, and these are the responses. So thank you to everybody who responded. We're going to start with yes, go ahead.
They're all bad.
Most of them.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you for the comments, though. Nothing wrong with you if you didn't like it. It's totally cool.
So our first comment is from Ty, the Blockbuster Guy. He said, I hate this movie so much. I checked out after the first 15 minutes.
I love his name, though.
Yes.
It's a dope name.
It's a very cool name. I'm going to shout him out because he does have a podcast of his own. I'm trying to remember the name of his podcast. The Pulp Culture Movie Podcast. So if you want to check out his podcast, that's what it is. Our next one is from Gimme Back My Action / horror movies. Said, hated it. Also, it's too much to type on Twitter, but I've managed to fix the worst part of this movie.
Okay, fair enough. I'm curious what that would be. You should email us. Do we have an email?
We do. If you want to email us anything, well,
within reason,
appropriate stuff.
If you actually make biscuits and gravy, it's just a joke. Don't actually do that.
But if you want to email us, recommendations on what you would like to see on the show, if you want to email us, when we're talking about a movie, if instead of tweeting, if you don't have Twitter, you can always email us. Like I said, we announce what movie we're doing beforehand, so you guys can email us at DissectThatFilm@gmail.com. It'll be in the description. It's in the link tree. So you just click the link tree and the email will be there. Our next comment is from Podcast in the Woods. It says it pales in comparison to T1, which is their favorite, and T2, but it does have some fun action and some good ideas. Plus, Linda Hamilton is amazing. That is true. It couldn't capture the magic of the past, and at this point, it's apparent nothing really will. You are 100% correct on that.
Yep.
Our next one is from Two Idiots and a Dog. Dark Fate is my third favorite Terminator film. I really enjoy it, and I like a lot of what they did. The concept of breaking Terminator away from John Connor appealed to me even more so after the abomination of Genesis. It's not perfect by any means, but I love it. I agree with that statement. It also has my favorite model of Terminator and my favorite future protector. I to be honest, as we were talking about, the Rev is really cool. It's a really cool Terminator. And Diego Luna,
I think,
or not Diego Luna, Gabriel Luna.
No,
or no,
I know what you mean.
Fuck, is that his name?
It's Gabriel.
Yes, Gabriel Luna. Sorry, Daniel Luna. Is that the guy from fucking Solo? I don't know. He did a great job. His performance is fantastic, and it makes that character even better. Mm-hmm. Our next one is from Epic Film Guys.
Hey,
The best
those guys.
Terminator sequel since T2. And I was like, hey, that is literally the quote that's on Terminator Genisys on the
They
front
wrote
cover.
that. They're like ghost shadow writing, ghost writing. That's them. I don't I don't
Well,
know.
let's see
I don't know.
who made that quote. Let's shout them out. So on the cover of Terminator Genisys, it's that exact quote. The best Terminator since this one says the best Terminator. He put the best Terminator sequel. But it's from Mark
Oh.
Hughes from Forbes magazine.
So that's secretly him, and
So
they
I
just put it on
guess
the wrong
that's
box for the wrong movie.
so
Okay.
Justin from Epic Film Guys is secretly
Mhm.
Mark Hughes from Forbes.
Yeah.
I'm on to you, Justin. I'm on to you. Somebody left us their review on Letterboxd. It's not very long, but they gave him a 3.5 stars. And it says, maybe the
That's
bar
fair.
was set really low. Oh, sorry. This is from Jojo Fett 16 on Twitter. Maybe the bar was set really low, but I ended up liking this way more than I thought I would. Mackenzie Davis was really good, and I liked her physicality. Arnold and Linda may have been slightly underused, but it's always nice to see old friends. Unfortunately,
Mhm.
Danny doesn't leave much of an impression, and the Rev 9 was visually interesting, but the actor was too cute.
Okay, fair
Okay.
point.
All right. All right.
I would
I
say
think
he's a handsome man,
I
so
think you
that's fair.
gave this movie a higher rating than I did on Letterboxd.
Very
If
nice.
anybody wants to know so I have a letterbox. It's under Dissect That Film. I've been watching a lot of movies, not for the podcast. Anytime I watch a movie, I put a review on there. I've watched a crap ton of I watched a bunch of movies over the weekend. Since we were recording a little later, I was able to watch other stuff. So if you want to know my personal reviews on movies that we're not covering on the show, my letterbox is under Dissect That Film. So just type that in and you should be able to get to my really subpar reviews. Robots Don't Age podcast said Dark Fate absolutely fucks. I like
Yes,
this one.
thank you. This is
It
my kinda guy or
it
girl or
manages
person,
to
whatever.
do what most of the films failed to do, and that's making it feel like a proper Terminator flick. I loved it so much. I love the fact that you just started out with Dark Fate absolutely fucks. I love it.
That's
I
proper, I like
love
that.
it.
That's good.
Our final one is from Johnny Browning, Johnny Blue.
Hey.
It was okay, but still just took T2 and twisted stuff around and added a few pinches of things in from T3 to try and keep milking life out of a franchise that was already done. I agree. I agree. I think they're reaching. They're reaching too far. And yeah, I'm just you know what? If they make one in the future, I hope it's something original. I mean, I guess it can't be super original, but I hope it has nothing to do with Sarah or John or Kyle or anything. It's its own thing, just incorporated within the Terminator franchise.
Wait 10 or 15 years and give it to, like, some aspiring up and coming director and let him
I
do
mean,
something different with
who
it.
knows if we will just get a straight up remake of the
I'm
original Terminator.
surprised
Like,
we
I'm
haven't
surprised that
got that.
hasn't, but I think it's just on such a pedestal that people it's one of those like, we don't dare to touch this. It's
Mhm.
just too good. Hey everybody. It's future me again. Um I'm here to read one last thing from somebody who left us a comment. It's more of a thread on Twitter about Terminator Dark Fate from our good friend Michael Howe, who left us the big thread last week for Terminator Genisys review. And he left us a nice review of a nice thread, I should say, of his thoughts on this movie. And I felt I had to include it into here, even if he was a little bit late to the response. But that's okay. That's what the whole joy of editing is. So Michael Howe, he starts off with Dark Fate is marginally better than Genisys, but at this point in the history of the Terminator franchise, the series doesn't have much to go on. Jeez, words are hard. Except the template of previous films. It really feels like a case of too little too late in how it was received. If the studio system post Cameron hadn't got so hooked on the idea that Arnold is the key, this could have been a pretty interesting take instead of T3 all those years ago. T3. Oof. At least Linda Hamilton wouldn't sound like she's sneering out every other line for the camera. A big issue I have in this film really could have given more regarding Danny Ramos and Grace. It made me wonder recently, what if this could have just been Danny and Grace against the Rev 9? Unfortunately, the filmmaker needs the familiar touchdowns for the older fans. I can kind of agree to that. I feel it would have felt a little bit more original in a way. We would have gotten a different story instead of it just being about Sarah and having to have Sarah and then of course Arnold. Like I feel like Arnold's just been shoehorned into most of these movies. Grace is the most interesting human character I've seen in one of these films since T2, Shades of Kyle Reese, but the film really dropped the ball with exploring what really augmented was like. Being augmented was like. Plus, the film feels like it desperately wants to make Danny and Grace a couple. I don't know if I agree with that one. I didn't really get that feeling in this, but hey, that's the great thing about interpretations. The Rev 9 is definitely more formidable than John in the last film, but does show that at this point, these future Terminators are way too powerful for humanity to defeat. I agree wholeheartedly. It's like, what can we just make it just gets to the point where it's like, I mean, the whole thing was like, we don't fight these, we run. It's like, well, what the fuck is the point then? Plus, the film can't move beyond the need for Arnold to strike the final blow, which we stated in the review. I do feel what makes Terminator films a chore to watch in the last few decades has been the termination of no fate but what we make that Cameron had. Every film post Cameron just tells us that all the struggles in these films, it just leads to a never-ending battle. At the end of these films, Skynet, or in this case, Legion, still exists, and the timeline just keeps getting pushed back. It's like Sisyphus. If one could believe humanity could win, maybe I'd enjoy it more, but even the open end of this film feels like it really isn't over. Michael, thank you so much for the huge comment. I love, getting these detailed thoughts on the movie. Seriously, thank you very much. All right, back to the show. But thank you to everybody who commented on that. We're going to be, like I said, we're doing Reanimator next week, and I will put out a tweet on that. And I guarantee with the amount of horror fanatics that I follow on Twitter and all that, the horror community is vibrant on Twitter. So I'm guessing, I'm hoping we get a lot of responses for Reanimator next week. But before we get this, someday our episodes won't be 2 hours long, but
your fault.
I guess I talk a lot, so
yes.
Sorry. But thank you to everybody who downloads the show. We've been getting crazy numbers on the podcast feed, which is just unreal. We're almost to 5,000 downloads of the show.
Jesus, already?
I swear to God, like last week we just hit 4,000. So
was it really loud?
It's crazy. I mean, let me check the numbers real quick. Yeah, we're inching closer. We're less than 200 downloads away from 5,000.
Damn, thanks.
It's wild. It's wild.
Listen to this fucking shit. What the hell?
You guys are wild. The fact that people look at it and they go, 2 hours. Do I want to listen to these guys talk for 2 hours?
You know the
and
statement.
You do?
No kid. You know the statement of like standing on your soapbox and just shouting whatever to the world. That's what I feel this is. But it's me in like a desolate alley yelling into a corner. It's like that's all I thought this was. Like you guys were there too, but you're behind me, so as I yell into this corner.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I'm surprised anybody listens to this.
When we started the show, it was just like, I feel like it's just gonna be me and whoever I'm talking to, and that's the only people who are gonna hear it. It's just me and the person I'm talking to. Like no one's gonna listen to this. And we have people listening to the show, which is wild. So thank you so much.
Humbling.
I can't express how much I appreciate everybody who watches the show on YouTube, which our numbers are it's like I always say when it comes to the YouTube, like it's for to be honest, it doesn't matter how many views we get on YouTube. It's for the people who like to watch podcasts instead of just listening to them, and it's there. I want to make it accessible to anybody. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
And it's going to be great. We're going to have Angela back for the next episode. Hopefully she recovers. Hopefully Dan will be won't be half dead for that because it's less than a week we record. Hopefully we'll be recording our next episode. Hopefully Dan isn't the one who has to sit it out because that'd be very upsetting. We don't want Dan to be out too. No, Dan's the one who recommended this movie.
I know.
We can't have him out.
Fucking goes. Oh, hey, when Angel's back on, we should let her air her opinions about this movie since she didn't make it
Or
to this one.
yeah, no, that's fine. No, that works. Yeah.
You know, fuck it, just don't let her do it at all. No, just fuck it.
No, I was thinking, I was like, maybe she could like record something and then just send it to
Hey,
me and I can add it to the end of the video.
anybody watching the video just saw that shit.
Hey, there she is.
She made an appearance twice. You missed it earlier.
Send Angela and Dan and all the whole family over there, you know, to get well soon because you know COVID decided to show up to to their house again for the second time in 2022. And
I got a story about that I'm gonna tell next podcast. So.
Yeah. But before all the links, sorry, Dissect That Film is on everything. Just go down to the description. There's a link tree down there. It literally has every link that you possibly need. It's got our merch store. It's got all of the podcast places it's available somewhat. And Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm trying to get some clips from every podcast as a clip. I'm trying to get clips of from every podcast that we do. I got to go back and do some old ones that I like to post on TikTok. I do YouTube shorts. I've been trying to put more content out there for all of you people. Trying to get some stuff out early so you guys kind of get like previews of upcoming episodes. It's me, guys. I'm trying my best.
He does all the work. He legitimately does. So give Parker the love.
So, yeah, all of the links for Dissect That Film, for DNA Gaming, all of my links, they're going to be down in the description. Make sure if you want to send us an email or anything, that's going to be down in the link tree as well. And yeah, I want to thank Dan for being here, for stepping in. It was kind of a toss up if we were going to get this episode out this week. Cause you know, I didn't want to push too hard, but I figured I'd ask and Dan said I'd do it. So, and Angela made the sacrifice of deciding to sit this one out. And we appreciate her very much. Thank you, Angela. We love you.
You would not believe the amount of shit he's talking about you right now.
She won't believe you.
No, he shouted and said thank you for being awesome.
All right, everybody. Until next time, I am Brett Parker. And you know what? I'm going to say it. That's DNA Gaming. She's off screen, but she's there. We are Dissect That Film, and this has been the Dissect That Film podcast, episode 66. See you all next time. Bye-bye.